close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let me take you back to a time where power, greed, and forgotten lessons in protection shaped the fate of an empire. Tonight, you and I will explore the story of a company that rose to unimaginable heights, yet fell silently into oblivion. This is the story of the East India Company, a tale of ambition, miscalculations, and the absence of something we often take for granted today, the safety net of insurance. Picture this. It's the year 1600. The world is vast and mysterious. Oceans are uncharted, and treasures from the East are whispered about in hushed tones in European courts. Spices, silks, and precious stones, luxuries only kings could afford. But there were dreamers, merchants who believed that wealth wasn't reserved for royalty. From a small room in London, a group of traders formed what would soon become the richest company in history, the East India Company. They started humbly, a handful of ships navigating treacherous waters, facing pirates, storms, and foreign lands. But these men were visionaries. They weren't just trading goods, they were building an empire of trade, influence, and eventually political power. Their ships, marked with the company's flag, became symbols of dominance. They struck deals with local rulers, set up trading posts, and with every successful voyage, their influence grew. But behind the scenes, risks were quietly accumulating. Unlike today's corporations, which invest in comprehensive insurance policies, the East India Company operated on bravado. They believed their royal charter was enough protection. Financial safety nets, risk assessments, those were luxuries they ignored. As they expanded, their ambitions grew bolder. They didn't just trade, they governed. They maintained private armies, larger than most European nations, and fought wars to secure their interests. Each conquest added to their coffers, but also to their list of enemies. Corruption began seeping through their ranks. Decisions were made not out of strategy, but out of greed. They loaned money recklessly, invested in unstable territories, and ignored the fundamental principle that every empire, no matter how grand, needs protection. In modern times, we have systems. Insurance companies assess risks, create policies, and ensure that when the unexpected strikes, businesses don't crumble. The East India Company, however, chose to believe in their own invincibility. They operated without any safety net, walking a tightrope over financial chaos. The tipping point came with the conquest of Bengal. They taxed the land heavily, exploited resources, and destabilized the local economy. Famine struck. Millions perished, not just from nature's wrath, but from the company's insatiable greed. Yet, in the grand offices of London, the focus remained on profits. There is no disaster recovery plan, no crisis insurance, no financial buffer to absorb the shock. The company's arrogance blinded them. They believed they were too big to fail. But history, as always, had other plans. Competitors began emerging. The Dutch, the French, and local insurgents started challenging their dominance. Trade routes became battlegrounds. Ships were lost, not just to storms and pirates, but to poor planning and lack of protective measures. Investors, once eager, began pulling out. The British Parliament, alarmed by the company's mismanagement and corruption, intervened. Regulations were imposed, power was curtailed, and slowly but surely, the company's vast empire began to shrink. Imagine if they had invested in risk management, if they had sought financial protection, if they had built a shield against the very vulnerabilities they created. Their story could have been different. Their fall wouldn't have been inevitable. This lesson transcends time. Today, every successful enterprise understands that ambition alone isn't enough. Protection, foresight, and planning are what sustain legacies. Insurance, often seen as a mundane detail, is the silent guardian of empires. As you lie in bed tonight, think of the East India Company. Think of their rise, built on vision, and their fall, marked by neglect. Let their story remind you that in life, as in business, true strength lies in acknowledging vulnerabilities and preparing for them. No dream is too big, no goal is too ambitious, but without protection, even the mightiest can fall. As you drift into sleep, imagine the bustling ports of Calcutta, the grandeur of London's trade halls, and the silent decay that followed. Ships once filled with treasures now lay abandoned. Offices that echoed with deals and negotiations now stood empty. All because a simple principle was ignored. Protection isn't a sign of weakness, it's a testament to wisdom. Sleep well tonight, knowing that every story, every empire, every success hold a lesson. The East India Company's tale is more than history. It's a quiet reminder that strength is as much about defense as it is about conquest. Close your eyes and let the whispers of the past lull you into a restful sleep. Tomorrow is a new day, filled with dreams and ambitions. But remember, as you chase your dreams, always build your safety net, because even the stars need the night sky to shine. Sleep tight and let history guard your dreams.